What you have to rely on the person that you live next to turn on theirs as well. But it doesn't seem to be working. I mean, we've got this ice, form there, and when that happens, when it does melt, it can go up like a chain. So have to keep some eye on that.
So let's keep the happy music quotient up.
Okay.
Right? In terms of it being sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess then cool. Make it a warm, happy feeling for the handful that are here. Okay, good.
I think it's supposed to last about 10 years. Is that enough? I think it went over a little bit.
All right. We're going to get started as people begin to make their way in. Page 186. Moda'ani, our morning blessing of gratitude.
Moda'ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta binishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha moda'ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta binishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha rabba emunatecha.
And 198, we continue with morning blessings. Nisim b'cho yom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech bivina livhavchin bein yom uvein laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei kaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten le'ayef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
202. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shasani B'Tselem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otel Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
I'll just point out for those who are with us at the Torah study this morning on the bottom of page 202, the last three blessings, or if you will, on that page, blessings 3, 4, and 5, each reference Israel, but perhaps in a different way, slightly. Be interesting to take a look at that. We continue on page 204, our blessing over Torah study, sweet as honey.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch atah, Baruch atah, Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue.
Page 226. 226 is the Baruch Hu, for which I invite you to rise. 226.
Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Please be seated. Continue on the following page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ledarim aleha berachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, v'al me'orei or sh'asita yifa'arucha selah, or chadash al tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu mehira le'oro, baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. 232, 233.
If you are someone who attends the religious school, please come up and help me lead the Shema. Come on. Okay. Face the congregation. Okay. Ready? Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. If you know the Ve'ahavta, you can stay up here. If not, feel free to have a seat. If you know the Ve'ahavta, you should have a book. That's okay.
There we go.
Okay. Top of 234. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam המזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם. May I have a seat? Thank you.
The Mi Chamocha is on 240.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילו תוסף אלה, נורא תהילו תוסף אלה. שירה חדשה, שירו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We turn the page and rise on page 242 for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
244.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'imaot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
246.
Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye umatmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol
248.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה לזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ. Kivodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Ma'adir Shimcha B'chol haaretz Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkomo Echadu Eloheinu Avinu Malkeinu Umoshienu Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav Leinei Kol Chaim Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimloch Adonai Leolam Elohai Zion L'dor vador, Hallelujah. L'dor vador nagigod lecha, U'l'nitzach nitzachim kedushat chag nakdish, V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. We continue silently, and we'll join together on page 258. $258, Sim Shalom, our prayer for peace.
Sim Shalom uvracha, sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. V'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha.
We turn now to our Torah service. It begins on page 362. We have some helpers.
Sure. Of the older kids that are here, if you could come up and help us with the Torah service, that would be lovely. Come on.
362.
Come on.
The page. Miles and Selma.
Could you open the ark? Please rise. There you go. Pull. Ein kamocha be'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol amim u'memsheltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiv avertzoncha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki vecha levad batachnu. Melech Elam v'nisach Adon olamim. 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Utevar Adonai mirushalayim. 366. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachdav. You can start walking with them now, if we can.
You good?
Lecha Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki cho b'shamayim uvaretz, ki cho b'shamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamid naseh lechol erosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
Well, thank you for that help. This morning, our Torah portion is from Exodus. The portion is called Yitro. It's one of only very few portions that are named for both a non-Israelite, that is a Jethro, who was Moses' father-in-law, and significantly, it's in this Torah portion, it's a section we'll share together, we are introduced to the Ten Commandments. This is the scene where the Israelites are gathered around the base of Mount Sinai. Moses goes up, comes down with the Ten Commandments after some 40 days and 40 nights. It's a number that appears often in the Torah to designate a stretch of time, many moons, if you will. And then we not only read the Ten Commandments, is what we'll share, but we'll speak specifically about the way in which they're written, or the way in which the rabbis, the ancient rabbis, imagined that they were written. If you'll lead us, Grant, in the blessings before the reading, which are found on page 366, 68.
I believe 66?
368.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
If anyone wants to come up and gather around and look at the Torah or see what we're reading from, you're welcome to do that. That's the idea of it being on this lower table. I invite you to do that as we share together verses from Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 18. Vayidaber Elohim et kol devarim ha'ela lemor, and God said all of these things. Anochi, you can see them actually written from right to left, from the top of our doors, the ark, down. Each of these, either two packets of words or the third word, capture each of the Ten Commandments in turn. So, if you will, the top two words, right to left, is commandment 1, 1, 2, 3 is commandment 2, third commandment, fourth commandment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there it is. The significance being that we're to keep these ideas before us. Anochi Adonai. Those are the first 2 words at the top. Anochi Adonai Elohecha, Asher Hotzeticha, Me'eretz Mitzrayim mi Beit Avadim. Anyone read that for us?
God spoke all these words, saying, I, the Lord, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage.
Lo yihye lecha Elohim acherim al panai.
You shall have no other gods besides me.
Lo ta'aseh lecha fesa, l'chol tmuna asher b'shamayim mima'al, v'asher ba'aretz mitachat, v'asher b'mayim mitachat la'aretz.
And you shall not make for yourself a sculptured image or any likeness of what it is in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth.
Lo tishtachaveh lahem, v'lo ta'avdam, ki anochi Adonai Elohecha, al kana poked avon avot, al banim, al shleishim, v'al riveim l'sanai, v'aseh chesed l'alafim, l'hovei u'l'shimorei mitzvotai.
You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am an impassioned God, visiting the guilt of the fathers upon the children, upon the 3rd and upon the 4th generations of those who reject me, but showing kindness to the 1000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments.
Lo tisa et shem Adonai Elohecha l'shav, ki lo yinakeh Adonai et asher yisa et shemo l'shav.
You shall not swear falsely by the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not clear one who swears falsely by his name.
Zachor et yom haShabbat l'kadsho. Sheshet yamim ta'avod v'asita kol malachtecha v'yom hashvi'i Shabbat l'Adonai Elohecha lo Elohecha.
And remember the Sabbath on the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God.
Lo ta'aseh kol malacha ata uvincha bitecha avdecha imatecha uvahemetecha v'gercha asher bisharecha ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz et hayam ve'et kol asher bam v'itzach b'yom hashvi'i al ken berach Adonai et yom hashabbat v'kadshehu.
You shall not do any work, you or your son or daughter, your male or female slave, or your cattle, or the stranger who is within your settlements. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and sea and all that is in them, and he rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Kabed et avika ve'et imecha, l'man yirachun yamecha al ha'adama asher Adonai Elohecha naten lecha.
Honor your father and your mother, that you may long endure on the land which the Lord your God is giving you.
Lo tirtzach.
You shall not murder.
Lo tin'af.
You shall not commit adultery.
Lo tignov.
You shall not steal.
Lo ta'aneh ba'arecha ad shaker.
You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Lo hachamod beit re'echa.
You shall not covet your neighbor's house.
Lo tachmod eshet re'echa v'avdo amito v'rosho v'soro v'chamero v'chol asher larecha v'chol larecha.
You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or his male or female slave or his ox or his donkey or anything that is your neighbor's.
V'chol ha'am ro'im et hakolot v'et halepidim v'et kol ha'shofar v'et ha'har ashen v'yirah ha'am v'inatzu v'amdu merachok.
All the people witnessed the thunder and lightning and blare the horn and the mountain smoking, and when the people saw it, they fell back and stood at a distance.
That's where we're going to stop.
Okay.
We conclude with the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. You may be seated. Thank you. With the Torah still out, we're going to share the Misha Berach prayer, our prayer for healing. We are mindful this morning of Joshua Waxman and Barry Rodwick, Georgia Maxon and Marie Simone, Mary McFadden, John Jacobs and Bill Frank, Sharon Donlin, Judy Musgrave and Judy Maglin, Vincent Friedman, Judah Kashansky, Andrea Conlon, and Bob Isaki. Are there other names for Misha Berach? This one, please. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Okay. We share Misha Berach, praying for their healing and comfort, all of them.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So I want to share or invite you to share with me a conversation about the Ten Commandments, in particular, not what they have to say, although we can certainly do that. And much has been made about the way in which the Ten Commandments are numbered, the way in which they appear on right and left, and what number 1 and number 6 or number 2 and number 7, if we read them across, or trying to make sense of some kind of pattern within them. We should also make mention, you can look this up later, that the Jewish enumeration of the Ten Commandments, of this section from Exodus chapter 20, and the Protestant and the Catholic enumeration of these Ten Commandments differ. That is to say, you can look this up, it's interesting enough. The first commandment, which says, I am the Lord your God who took you out of the land of Egypt, doesn't appear in and of itself to be a proactive command, what we should do. It rather establishes that this is the one who's talking to you. I'm the God who took you out of the land of Egypt. And so in both the Protestant and Catholic traditions, the Ten Commandments begin with the next one. You shall have no other gods before me, and then begin to figure them out. Rabbi Danny Schiff, friend of the congregation, a number of years ago suggested, we did a sort of a seminar on the Ten Commandments, that if you were to look at this body of material and you were actually to enumerate the commandments that are listed within them, you might come up with as many as 14. So it says, keep the Sabbath day and keep it holy. That could be 2. Honor your father and mother. That could be 2. Yes? Later in Deuteronomy, we're going to get a second version of the Ten Commandments, and we're going to see a slight variation between them. In particular, this one says, honor your father and mother. In Deuteronomy, it says, honor your mother and father. Maybe that means the same thing. Sometimes when that happens in the tradition, it says Aaron and Moses, or Moses and Aaron. It suggests they're of equal worth, or they're complementary, or you shouldn't mistake that one is due greater honor your mother than your father, per se. It's also the case that in this one it says honor the, it says Zachor, remember the Sabbath day. In the version from Deuteronomy, it says keep the Sabbath day. So in the song Lecha Dodi, which we share on Friday evenings, we have a verse. We could ask Grant to sing it for us right now, but we won't. Where the verse is, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. which means remember and keep, were uttered as a single word. B'dibur, and a word echad, Shema Yisrael, now echad means one. That is to say that it appears that the Exodus version and the Deuteronomy version are separate versions. Understand that they were uttered at the same time by God. This is the rabbinic imagination, right? So God speaks in a multivalent way, or can say more than one thing at once. Certainly we can find multiple meanings in there. And so when it says honor your mother, father, honor your father, mother, it's the same. When it says remember or keep the Sabbath day, shamor, vizachor, those two words were uttered as a single word. I happen to believe, see if this resonates with you, that the more meaning we bring to something, so imagine there may be a special place for you that holds particular import or significance, or maybe there's a special song, or there's a day on the calendar. It's your birthday, it's your anniversary, it's your child's birthday, whatever it may be. That day becomes more meaningful because among the 365 days, you point that day, there was something that happened of great significance. And so each year when that day rolls around, you take note of it. If something else should happen, maybe twice, two family members, or you share a birthday with somebody, and it's sort of an exciting moment when you realize that you have that date in common, or your birthday is someone else's anniversary. It's sort of we share something about that. The more meaning we give to anything, the more full of meaning, or meaning-laden, or meaningful it becomes. The story of the Ten Commandments and the discussion or the imagination about the Ten Commandments is much like that. There's an enormous amount of commentary and discussion. Largely it falls into the category we call midrash, which is the rabbinic means of explicating meaning or reading meaning into the text, of engaging with the text, the words that are not quite there. What does it mean when it says this? Or what does it mean in the absence of an example? Can someone know of a midrash? Any midrash that will help illustrate what a midrash is? Can you think of one? Grant, help us. Tell us a midrash.
Nachshon, the story of Nachshon.
So the story of Nachshon, you know this story? Nachshon is the one who's credited. His full name is Nachshon ben Aminadav, but we call him Nachshon. Nachshon is the character who's described in the rabbinic imagination of being the first one when the Israelites are at the edge of the sea, the Egyptian armies coming up behind them, they're about to go into the water. Nachshon is the one who's imagined as taking the first step into the water, taking another. The water comes up to his ankle, comes up to his shin, to his knee, it's at his thigh, it's coming above his waist, and as it reaches above his nose, the waters begin to part. And so Nachshon is the one the rabbis imagine as the one who first began to ford the sea, such that it begins to part. Another example, Abraham and Isaac, when they're heading up the mountain, Abraham to go to sacrifice Isaac. Isaac is unaware of what's going to happen atop the mountain. We, the omniscient reader, knows that at the end of the story, God's going to stay Abraham's hand. Isaac's not going to be sacrificed. But on the way up, father and son share a conversation. It's detailed in the text. On the way back down the mountain, no discussion or conversation is described between them. And in fact, we don't have another recording of any conversation or words that were exchanged between father and son. So the midrash might read into the story to give an explanation. You might say, well, after such a traumatic event, or after a betrayal by a parent, or it's not so surprising. But all of that conversation would fall into the realm of midrash. They do the same thing with the Ten Commandments, unsurprisingly. What was it that happened in that moment? What was it that was going on? We have a verse that suggests, just after the ones we read, that the Ten Commandments were inscribed or engraved or carved into the rock. Now, that's not so surprising because that's how we imagine it, that if something material is written into stone, it's chiseled into the stone, as opposed to being written. Ink on paper can be erased or can be washed away. It doesn't actually change the paper. We know that it does slightly, but on the surface it doesn't appear to be, whereas carving something into rock changes the nature of the rock. The rabbis imagine, when it says it's carved into the rock, that the letters were carved all the way through. That is to say that you could see through the letters. Their idea is that in the same way as the Ten Commandments, which they imagine in a fanciful way, that was the way in which they were carved, is intended to be a reflection, if you will, or an invitation to imagine the same thing about ourselves. That when something is carved all the way through, then they suggest that the insides and the outsides, or the front and the back, reflect each other, or are consonant, are in harmony with each other. And they suggest, the rabbis, that in much the same way, our character is revealed most effectively or most accurately when our insides and our outsides match, as opposed to presenting yourself in the world as an upstanding person, but secretly you're going about and doing things that aren't right. Or, as Nathaniel Hawthorne suggested in the 19th century, that no one person can present one face to the outside world and another to themselves without soon getting confused as to which one is true. And so the rabbis are deriving a lesson about what it means to be a person of character, or what it means to possess integrity, and what it is to behave consistently, such that what you articulate or what you say you believe is actually, in fact, a reflection of what you do. It's another way of taking this story of the Ten Commandments, the idea that it's written into stone, and suggesting that in the same way as these things should be inscribed upon our heart, or we take something to heart, or we embody it, that the goal is that those things should be the same inside and outside, and we judge someone in that way. I wonder if that resonates for anyone, or if you like that teaching. I think it's really a very beautiful idea, right? That the idea that the way in which the Ten Commandments are described as being written can be the way in which we understand the challenge for ourselves. It's a difficult thing to behave consistently in every situation, or to be true in this situation and in that situation, when people are watching and when people are not watching. That we know is the true test of character. If you could get away with something and no one would be the wiser, do you choose to do it or not? Ultimately, these are the kinds of questions only we can answer for ourselves or with our God. If no one knows you're going to cheat, is it okay to get away with it? Is it something you would choose to do? Or are you a person who, with integrity, behaves when no one's looking in the same way as when someone is looking? And that's one of the great challenges of what it means to be a person who understands themselves to be.
Can you go through a red light if no one's around?
That's right. That's the classic, right? You're at a four-way intersection. It's on an abandoned road. No one's there to watch.
Texas, that's Texas.
Whether you go through the red light when no one's looking, right? Whether you get, was there a hand in the back? Maybe?
Well, someone said that it would be the one that on the corner where there's camera, actually, so.
Right. Well, now that there are cameras everywhere, right? Right.
What about the saying, foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds?
That's right. Well, so sometimes we have to know when it's important to deviate from that, right? These are the complexities of real life, right? When's it appropriate to bend the truth? When's it appropriate to cut a corner? I'm not here to give you a rule of thumb about when that will be, but the challenge to be consistent, or to measure our sense of integrity or character, when we can get away with it and we choose not to because we know it's not the right thing, or we know we're not going to sleep as well, or we know that it doesn't live up to the expectations that certain people have of us, even if they're not looking. Yes?
I was just going to say, isn't it the same challenge of Torah being said it was written by the hand of God, but that it's timeless, that the interpretation through the ages can change, but the lessons are timeless?
I love that, right? There's a plumb line that there's in every time and circumstance, there are certain things that are right, or to thine own self be true, and there are things that are different in different circumstances, right? We know this is a perennial challenge about how much to give credit to AI, right? Or how much of your own work versus how much of what you get away with. No one will be the wiser, right? Something's gained, something's lost. Those are complicated questions. They look simple, but we know that as we begin to chip away at what we once held to be a standard, it gets easier. There's a wonderful, maybe you know this song, Mitzvah Gereret Mitzvah, Avara Gereret Avara, yeah? Could share that. There's a song that suggests one mitzvah follows another mitzvah, and one transgression follows another transgression. That is to say, we get good at what we practice. And if you're in the habit of doing things correctly or doing the right thing, the mitzvah, you get in the practice habit of doing that. And by the same token, if you get comfortable cutting corners or cheating or getting away with things, it becomes that much more easy the next time to justify. There's a precedent, and you begin to set yourself down a certain path. That's why, in no small part, this is for the younger ears if they're listening still, it's important the company we keep, who we get influenced by, what we're encouraged to do. All of these things, we're all susceptible to falling off whatever we know or believe to know or we're given to understand is the right path, when there are temptations or when there are opportunities or when there are other things that lead us astray. So it's a wonderful message, I think, about how the Ten Commandments were written. One of the students last night, the scouts who were here, when I mentioned this last evening in my remarks, was very insightful, asked how it would be, they referred to an English letter as opposed to Hebrew alphabet letters, wherein he asked about how it would be if the letters were carved all the way through, letters that have closed areas, so the capital D, lowercase d for that matter, an O, right? The letter, such that if you were making bubble letters or you're carving them out, if you didn't have those little, the negative space is called an architecture, right? Like the courtyard in the middle of a building is considered a negative space. The hole that's the donut hole, or the hole in the middle of the O that has to be maintained if you make a bubble letter, is how the rabbis derived the idea that they were carved all the way through, because they imagined that those the centers of those letters were sort of suspended right there. Again, they're sort of creating this fanciful way of understanding it, bringing that much more meaning to the letters, to the characters. Final thoughts or questions about anything we've shared? That might be a nice song to conclude with, if we could do. Okay. Let me invite you to turn with Grant and me back to our prayer books on page 374. We're going to lift and dress the Torah. So if I can get a few people who helped us carry Torahs, dress and undress Torahs. Let's see, will you help us with our younger friends? Mao, Selma, Selma? Kids, you want to join us? Come on.
I can spot.
All right, excellent. You want to take that? You're going to take those. I'm going to give you that. And Lexi's going to help you with the band. You ready? That's what we're going to do first. All right, Grant, you ready? No, you're doing great. HaTorah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. We'll do it like this.
Day of light to them, and that's to it. All of its supporters are happy. It is a day of light to them, and that's to it. All of its supporters are happy.
The other way. Turn around. Yep.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
There we go.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
Excellent. Excellent. Come on up. Me'ushar, thank you. Imhi lama chazikim ba v'tomecha me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom. We remain standing. Turn to page 586. And in the middle of the page, we share Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teikadu l'yotzer breshit shelo asanu kuei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gol aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu 588 Hu notei shamayim v'yotzei haaretz Moshavi karo b'shamayim ima'al U'shchinatu zo Begov hey meromi Oheinu einod Emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatuv b'torato. V'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu Elohim v'shamayim ima'al v'al haaretz mi'echad ein od. V'ne'emar v'noyo Adonai Lechal kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. I invite you to remain standing as we turn to 598, there to share our Kaddish. This morning we remember Martin Fried, father of Linda Hertzberg, and we recall as well the following for Yartzeit, the anniversary of whose passing we mark this Shabbat. Grace DeVos, mother of David DeVos, Eve Hantman, mother of Carol Lehman, Dustin Jopling, grandson of Mark and Peggy Jopling, Alan J. Melmad, father of Andrea Conlon, Harvey Rothenberg, father of Mark Rothenberg, Robert R. Taylor, grandfather of Shara Taylor, and Bernice Zwelling. Are there other names for Kaddish this morning? Others whose names we lift up and remember? Calling to mind all those whose memories give meaning to our lives, do we share? Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayed ochol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach li'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mamav, hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony and hybrid and peace to all of us, to all Israel, to all the world. And we say once more, amen. Please be seated. Our announcements are few. The men's club, Seth was going to make an announcement, but the men's club is providing us some food after our service, a bit of kiddush, and so we'll head down, or you're invited. I hope you'll join us for what I'm told is supposed to be a pretty nice spread in our social hall right after the service. So we look forward to being together there. And we're grateful to the men's club for their generosity. Tomorrow morning, religious school and a bar mitzvah meeting for those who are, I think, in 5th grade, moving into 6th grade as they anticipate. Yes, is that you? No,
Just the 6th graders.
then just the 6th graders.
6th grade over.
All right, I didn't mean to scare anybody.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
Next Friday, we'll be joined for Shabbat by Rona Kaufman, our Rabbi and Friends series. We have the final solution, the 18th, Purim Carnival coming up. All's good. Okay, our final song.
So, Mitzvah Gerer Mitzvah
Yes.
is in our book on page 646.
646.
I have not played this in a long time. Bear with me. Mitzvah
Gerered mitzvah. Avera gerered avera. Mitzvah gerered mitzvah. Gerered mitzvah. Yada da da.
Let's try that again. Mitzvah Gerer Mitzvah.
Woo. Right? Avera gerered avera. Mitzvah gerered mitzvah. Gerered mitzvah. Yada da da. Sadik. Litov. Zetov. Mitzvah. Avira Gereret Avira. Mitzvah Gereret Mitzvah. Gereret Mitzvah. Yada da da. Nice. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, Hamotzi. Yes.
Oh.
Thank you, Cindy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Now we can go downstairs. Thank you.
We're gonna remove the pumpkins if that's cool. with
Yes,
you.
please do.
Thank you so much. It's February now.
Fair enough,
Yes.
yeah.
How was your ride home last night? I
Yeah.
just texted you late. It was awful.
Was it bad for you?
We hit a squall.
Oh my gosh.
It was almost an hour ride home.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, mine was actually rather.
I think when you went north, you couldn't even see 79. Like there was no.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
There was a. It was awful.
Oh, I'm so glad you got home safely.
There were no salt trucks and no like nothing.
Awful.
So we were all the staff, everybody was texting.
We can put them in this closet and we'll bring them out next September.
We want to put it in the coat closet, in the coat
Oh,
room
better.
maybe? Let's
Yeah,
get a
better.
little bit more room. Miles, get your sticker, honey. Oh, good, okay. You have 4?
All right. Thanks for being here. What do we got here? Oh my gosh, quite a spread.